Good morning, good morning, good morning. Clearly, I am not Glenn Lundy. My name is Crystal, but Glenn asked me to step in this morning because he is on his way to the airport to catch a flight this morning, so he is unable to join us, but he has created an amazing episode for you guys that I know you're going to love with an interview with the one and only Grant Cardone. So with that being said, let's jump into today's episode of GM3X.
Welcome to GM3X. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to one, a father to eight, and the founder of the 800% Elite Club. I hope you're ready for motivation, education, inspiration, celebrity interviews, and thought-provoking conversations because it's 5:30 a.m. and it's time to rise and grind.
Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
I have the best news for mothers everywhere and wives everywhere.
Tell us about it.
So they did a study out of the UK with over 500,000 people, and it proved that if you participate in chores, you are 21% less likely to get Alzheimer's. So husbands, dads, kids, you're all doing chores, okay? We have a perfect reason to start delegating.
That means I'm doing all the chores.
Oh, I am not getting Alzheimer's, I'll tell you that much.
So who does the most chores at your house? You or your husband?
Okay, I will say my husband's better about doing the dishes, but I do like the vacuuming, the heavy lifting stuff, the laundry. I'm definitely not getting Alzheimer's.
Neither.
What about you? Does your
I
husband
will
help?
take my husband's toothbrush and wash the baseboards with it. I am not.
That's a great idea. I'm gonna try that.
When he starts back talking to me, I just go in the bathroom, get
It's
it,
the perfect size.
put it in a little bleach water.
There we go.
No, I'm just kidding. But I really do. I'm the one that does the hardcore cleaning. My husband's OCD, so he straightens up, but I don't know if I'm just really OCD, but somebody else's cleaning is not as good as my cleaning, so.
Not anymore. Those kids doing chores. Husbands, moms, dads, grandpas.
We need to live longer, so.
Yeah, I
It's a
want
good excuse.
him to live long. I want him to remember everything, and he needs to do some more chores.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Hey,
love it. I'm very excited about that study.
I will have to share this with my husband.
Perfect.
Have a great week, guys.
Husbands, stop being little. Pick up a broom.
Love of God.
See you next week.
You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. You got the Malibu beach house, you got the big house, and it really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how much money you've made, doesn't matter how much success you've had. Wi-Fi is still an issue all over this country.
Dude, people interrupting me. Nobody respects me. It's like, it doesn't matter, bro. Some things just don't change,
Right.
no matter where you're at.
Let's say you're the greatest salesman of all time, right? Greatest salesman. You could sell your way in. Let's say Elon or somebody came and offered you $50 billion for your name, your rights, your programs, Cardone cap, everything, right? And they got the non-compete. So you can no longer do real estate. You can no longer do sales training. I'm assuming you would take the 50 billion. Maybe you say no. They offer you 50 billion. Would you take it? And what would Grant do if you couldn't do sales, you couldn't do real estate?
I think Glenn got muted.
Well, I would definitely take the 50 billion. Okay. So now I cannot buy any more real estate. I can't touch it.
That's right.
And I cannot do any more. I could still help people, right?
You can't do any sales training, nothing like that. They bought your name. They bought the rights. They bought the company. They got non-competes on everything. So no sales training, no real estate.
Well, I would definitely take the 50 billion. I'll probably go into major depression. But hey, you know what? I'll be like, I got 50 billion. So. and then I would take a few minutes to figure out, okay, what can I do other than what I've been doing, right? I mean, there's so many great things going on today in the world. Maybe I go into politics. 50 billion, bro. I could run for president.
50 billion's a lot of money, man. 50 billion's a lot of money.
50 billion, I could start I'm going to have a whole nother level of swag.
Yeah, man.
Like people think I'm hard to deal with now. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be impossible.
Where are you at now? Where's the real estate at now? I know last time we talked it was like 4 billion. Where are you at now?
Yeah, we're at $5.2 billion.
You're at $5.2 billion, which 6 years ago, when you wrote Be Obsessed or Be Average, in that book, you were at 400 million. And you said in there,
I didn't know that.
You were at 400 million, and you said, so you were talking about 10x. And you were like, hey, Sabrina, you were talking about 10x, and you said, so we're at 400 million. We're at 400 million. So if I 10x that would be 4 billion. And you were like, I don't even know how I would get to 4 billion. That's a crazy number. But if I come up a little bit short, I'll be all right. Now you're at 5.2, man. What does that feel like? And how do you make that jump in 6 years?
Yeah. So, it feels good to hear you say that. I didn't realize, I did not know I said that. Thank you for acknowledging that I achieved that target.
Yeah, man.
What happens for me is, because I've always said I've never achieved a 10x target, but you're telling me I did. You're telling me I exceeded one of mine, because somewhere in the last 6 years I moved the target again.
Right.
So I play this. It's a little game. It's not always fun, but sometimes because I can never win, right? But somewhere in the last 6 years, I moved the target again.
So what's the target now?
Oh, definitely 50 billion.
50 billion.
The number you brought up earlier. So I think the real estate can achieve 50 billion. I want to be one of the largest land and apartment owners in the country. I want to get in the top 10. The reason why is it's not just a big thing about I want to be the biggest. It's because I want to displace some of the way the game is played right now. It's just wealthy institutions, wealthy families, very connected. I think I can go there, and I think I can displace some of the big institutions that have a lock on the game. So anyway, back to how did I do that in 6 years?
Yeah,
bro, I really don't even know. I don't even know. I know this. One, I never quit dreaming. I have tremendous work ethic. It doesn't mean I work all the time, by the way. It doesn't mean I get up at 4:30 in the morning and stay up till midnight. But when there's work to be done, bro, I work.
Right.
And I got a great team, man. I have assembled great people, have somehow gotten attracted to me for all the haters I get. I think a lot of people I imagine they talk about that I'm polarizing and say whatever I want. I've heard some of this stuff, right? I'm arrogant and I show off the plane too much. But for some reason, there's a handful of people that have been attracted to me and partners that don't care about that stuff.
Right.
Jared, Sherry, Brandon, Natalie, my wife, Ryan Secco, the list of people I have around me, bro, that are winning, by the way, that they're in their own right. They're making contributions. They're getting known. They're building their popularity,
sure.
And building their net worth, taking care of their families. Their lifestyles are improving too. Glenn, the other thing to answer your question is these people they believe in me. Mm-hmm. And if they're not yes people, but when they get when we're all on the train, they're like, let's go beat Grant wrong.
Right. Right.
And really what their intention is, let's make Grant right. And because we've done some stuff that really has never been done before. Not anything genius like coding or building an app or technology or going to space. But dude, we've done some stuff regarding money for somebody who doesn't have is not a celebrity, not a Kanye, right? Or an Elon. Yeah. And some of the stuff that we've done online with webinars, some of the income we've produced on events, literally has never been done before.
Unheard of. Yeah. Unheard of. And it's all around this obsession, right? You're obsessed, and you talk about making sure the people around you are obsessed also, right? That obsession. And so Jared is an obsessed human. Sherry, they're all obsessed, chasing that obsession. So I love Be Obsessed or Be Average. It's been one of my favorite books out of all the books that you've written. And I'm curious, while I got you here, what have you learned since you wrote it? What's not in the book?
Yeah.
If anybody wants to go get the book, you can go grab the book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. I'm not going to talk to Grant about what's in the book. I want to know what's not in the book.
Yeah. So, yeah, here it is right here, man. So, I wish I wouldn't have had this. This was not my idea, by the way.
You being on the plane?
Yeah. I took the picture. Clearly that is me on the engine.
Yeah.
But it was not, I was just effing around, right? They did this photo shoot. I'm like, there was a ladder there. The next thing you know, I'm going up the ladder. The ladder was for the cameraman. It wasn't for me.
That's a real picture?
Huh?
That's a real picture? I thought it was like a...
No, this is a real picture, bro. That's me straddling the engine of a Gulfstream 200.
Dang, man. I would say that plane must have been a little smaller than the one I saw you in a few weeks ago or a couple months ago.
This was my first plane. That's the other thing. I'm ashamed of it because first of all, I would have never used this image. Okay.
Right.
Like it was like then who published this? Penguin Random or somebody? I don't know. I forget the publishers because they do so little to help you on these books.
Oh, bro.
It's disgusting.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Penguin Random.
Yeah.
And this was the shot. Well, there was a ladder there for the cameraman. I said, get off of there. I ran up the thing, jumped onto the tail. Boom. They shot that shot. And I'm like, guys, that was a joke. That was for me. It wasn't for you guys to put on the cover of the damn book.
Right.
Because it's obnoxious. Right. But look, what would I do different? There was a guy here that did my floors this morning. He put these floors in my house. I bought all the floors from him.
Right.
And we took up this old floor, put down this new floor, very, very expensive. And he says, my favorite book, Grant, was Be Obsessed or Be Average.
Okay.
And that's funny. It's the only book, I've never told this to anybody. It's the only book that I wrote with a specific, the specific intention to grab a specific audience.
Okay.
All the other books that I wrote were to solve a problem I was having.
Right.
This book, I said, I'm going to write a book that will attract by the title. I had the title before I had the book.
Right.
It's going to attract addictive personalities.
Mm.
And I was trying to build an audience of people like, yeah, I'm obsessed. Yeah, I'm an addict. Yeah, everybody says I work too much. Everybody says I drink too big. Exactly.
That's me.
And so what I've learned from this, and again, it was really to give people permission. It was to give the addictive personality permission to be addicted.
Right.
To not get rid of their addiction, their compulsive, their obsessions. I mean, I probably underestimated in the book. I probably didn't own it enough, the importance of being being a mainline junkie when it comes to success. I should have said that, dude. The last page should have said, you have to become a junkie.
To paint that real picture, which I think you hit on there multiple times. You're like, dude, you wouldn't have picked up this book. You wouldn't have picked up this book if you weren't obsessed, if you weren't crazy, man. If you weren't crazy, you wouldn't have picked up this book, right? Like you talked about that in there, and you also talked about shifting those addictions, ultimately those obsessions, when it makes sense to shift them. And I was curious about that. How do you let go? Or how were you able to let go when it was time to shift the obsession, right? To shift it from selling cars to selling training, to shift it from doing auto training to doing real estate, to shift it from doing drugs that aren't serving you to doing something that is. How do you let go of the old obsession and move to the new one?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that. And clearly you're asking me because you're having this problem. Yeah, so look, dude, most of the time it's been because I had to. It was long overdue, like my drug addiction. Like I knew I was a drug addict when I was 19 years old. I would go another 6 years. Not denying it. I already knew. I knew for sure I was. I would go another 6 years though, just not being able to make the change.
Yeah.
Then when I got in automotive, I was in automotive 7 years. I didn't need to be selling cars for 7 years. I had customers telling me, bro, you should be selling yachts. You should be on Wall Street pitching funds. Like when people tell you that and you're in Lake Charles, Louisiana, what are you doing in a car dealership selling Pontiacs? There was all this talent I had.
Sure.
It was uncovered, Glenn, only because I became obsessed to become a great salesman. Mm. And that was driven out of this thing, I didn't like being a car salesman. And it's not that I didn't like selling cars. I didn't like the way people saw me because I was selling cars. Mm. And then because I knew I had this secret, like probably most of your viewers, that I had more in me than what I was doing.
I was thinking about you the other day. I was thinking about the next 10X, and obviously your obsession, like you were talking about earlier, NADA not giving you the right treatment, all those different things, wanting to throw the biggest and baddest events and wanting to connect with the biggest and baddest people. And it got me thinking, you talked about like getting people that don't know you to know you, studying certain people that are on your frequency. And is there anybody that you, I don't want to say look up to, but is there anybody that you are studying, watching, learning from that doesn't know you, that doesn't know Grant?
Everybody I'm studying doesn't know me.
You're really? Like who? Give me an example.
Barry Sternlick.
Barry Sternlick. Who's that guy? I don't know that guy.
Donald Bren. Steve Schwartzman. These are guys I'm studying.
Okay.
Jack. Elon, dude. Elon's a gangster, bro. Like
he is a gangster, I know.
I'm studying what the guy, he just passed away, Bogle, that created Vanguard, which is a $5 trillion fund, basically $5 trillion business. So, and then I study a lot of the old guys, man, the Rockies and the Morgans. And
do you have an actual, so you're studying those guys. Do you have does Grant Cardone have a coach?
Do I have a coach?
Yeah.
No, I do not have. I mean, I have my church. My church is my coach.
Yeah, yeah.
So anytime I'm like, some people that get coaches, they don't even have the right questions asked. Like, forget the right answer, do you? Most people don't even have the right questions.
Sure.
So part of what I do with my church is to figure out what question I should even be asking. Because most of the time I'm like, hey, what's wrong with this? Well, I should, like, that's not even what's wrong.
One of the things I learned from you a long time ago is, don't, like, you gotta use your product. Like you gotta be all bought in, on your product. And I know you sell a lot of coaching. You sell a lot of coaching and training. So I was curious if you invested in coaching and training yourself.
So Glenn, actually, I don't do a lot of coaching. Okay. I don't do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I do some. I do maybe 4 or 5 a year that people are like, hey, I just want to spend, I want to meet with you 4 times a year, and they donate a bunch of money to Cardone, to the Grant Cardone Foundation. That's where the money goes.
Sure.
But I don't love the coaching because I think it's an inefficient way for people to spend time and money.
Yeah.
I'd rather than be at our boot camp. I'd rather than be at the Cardone Capital, meeting other people. And by the way, everybody that's done it with me is like, bro, I got so much out of that session. But for me, it's like I don't want to feel like a therapist.
Right. Got it. Got it.
you know, and,
Yep.
and I don't ever want to tell somebody what's wrong with them. Really, I don't. But I still like that guy better than the guy that's going to chum up on you and say, yeah, Glenn, you're doing fine. Everything's great, bro. You're going to be great. You're the best. Because I hate that guy.
With the obsession that you have, you're at 5.2. We got to get you to 50.
50.
What has to be different? Or can you get there? Can you get there with what you have now? Or what has to be different to be able to get there?
Yeah, probably can't. Probably can't. You know, dude, it's very interesting that you're asking me this, because if this happens, it's going to be me and you're going to definitely go to dinner.
Yes, sir.
But what would have to happen is for Cardone Capital, I would have to probably buy a company.
You'd have to buy a company. Okay.
Yeah, buy a company that has a bunch of assets like I have. Like I'd have to go find a Cardone Capital.
Okay, I see. So you'd have to acquire another one, kind of like what Cox Automotive has been doing in the automotive space.
Yeah, I mean, you know, all big companies, they acquire, they don't grow internally. You can't. Otherwise, I'm just going to do another deal at 100 million. Then every year I have $1 billion a year, and then 50 years from now I'm 50 billion. Like, or I just wait for appreciation. That could happen, right? So, but 50 years from now I'll be 113 years old. I really don't want to wait that long.
Right.
My knees already bother me.
Hey, I got to tell you though, man, thanks to you, really, you, Elena, and the girls, thanks to you guys. Like, I look forward to being 64 years old. I'm 44 now. And like, you know, I used to look for, you know, you look forward to your 20s, and then maybe you look forward to 30s, and then most people start hitting 40s and you think it's all downhill from there. But you've got me, like, I'm excited to be 64 from what I mean, it looks like you're living a pretty damn good life at 64. And I saw where you were at 54 versus 64. And so you've really inspired me to look forward to those, 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
You were going to say the golden years, weren't you?
No, man. No, they're not the golden years at all. It doesn't look like you guys are rocking golden years. I mean, you guys are traveling all over the place.
Well, Elena's getting younger, and I'm the only one that's aging over here. Yeah, 6 years ago, you told me, you said, hey, I wanted to be at 5 billion or 4 billion, and we're at 5. I didn't even know I said that, but I can believe I did.
Yeah.
And then we exceeded that, right? Well, I did in the interim, in the 6 years, clearly I did something that was mechanical to get there, because you can't fake that, but I didn't spend time in the mechanics. The problem with the mechanics are now who exactly do I need to meet? What exactly do I need to be? How do I budget my time to do all that? I'm not doing that. Like, I remember learning from my church once, I heard this line that I'm gonna probably butcher it, but it's like, intention is senior to mechanics. And I was like, that was a game changer for me. I'm like, man, I need to for me, that means, like, my understanding of that concept is the intention, where I want to get, not am I a good person or not? The intent, what the goal or target is, needs to be 80% of my energy. So I'm going to get to 5 billion. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to take a piece of paper out. I might take a piece of paper out, figure out how many deals I need to do, but that's where it becomes problematic, because I'm like, okay, if my average deal size is 50 million and I need to get to 50 billion, I need 1,000 deals.
Right.
Like I can't even buy one deal right now, much less 1,000. And then you get stuck in this problem, this bigger problem. And then you're like, there's no way. And you give up on your goal and your intention now. And then you start cutting everything. That's why, if you've ever heard me say, never reduce the target, that's what I was talking about. Don't reduce the target, increase the activity to the point to where your goals, in my case, my goals should be so big that it gives me new questions to ask. And the new question would be, who do I need to meet to do a $50 billion deal?
Right.
Well, the buddies that I have right now in Clubhouse, Jonathan, Jerry, Glenn, David Spizak, Brian Benstuck, they can't help me, dude.
Correct.
Those people cannot help me get to 50 billion. They can be buddies.
Sure.
So that's why, if you look at that list of people I gave you earlier that I'm studying,
Oh yeah,
They've all
look
done.
them up.
They've all done 50 billion and more.
Right.
So that's what I need to start realize. Hey, what did these cats do? Who do they know? What do they now? I'll just tell you another thing that is crazy because I just found this out. I was talking to some Wall Street guys and I'm like, dude, I hate these Wall Street people. And I said, I'm just not accepted there. I'm not like them. And the guy looked at me and says, bro, it's because you're talking to the wrong people. He didn't say bro, by the way, but he says, it's because he's like, Grant, you're not talking to the top of the food chain. The top of the food chain is exactly like you.
That's interesting.
They would never judge you. They would never criticize you. They would only admire you. They would want to pick up the bill with you. They would think they were with a brother. He says, it's everybody they hired below him that is threatened by you. They said the reason you don't feel comfortable talking to these people is because you're talking to one level below who you should be talking to.
And that level seems like a level above because it could be a level above where you're at, but it's a different game. It's a different playing field.
The guy looked at me and says, look, bro, you're a savage. You're a beast. You have to talk to savages and beasts.
Yeah.
You're not built to be a corporate guy. That's not you. Like the reason you're uncomfortable, Grant, he's like, the guy told me, and this guy's way up there. Right. He says, the reason I believe you've had problems is because you've simply been dealing with the wrong people. And in thinking that you needed those people, and the reality is you are those people you're studying.
That's strong. It makes me think of Kobe, right? Kobe talked about when he first got to the league, he went to Goat Mountain because all the other players were trying to tell him, like, don't talk shit to Jordan, don't do this, that. He's like, I don't know what the hell y'all are talking about. And he went straight to Jordan and all the best, right? To Magic, all the greatest of all time, Goat Mountain. And those were the only ones who could really understand him. All the other players were just B level players in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if your audience gets anything from that is, dude, it's not about you. You're not the one with the problem.
Right.
And that you shouldn't adopt that or adapt that as some irresponsible way. But if you're a highly responsible person, at some point you're like, okay, what's not happening here? And it goes back to that thing I said about the wrong question. You're simply just asking the wrong questions. Maybe I'm meeting the wrong people. It's not that you're the wrong person. Grant Cardone, I am not valuable to myself or this planet being someone else. So when I was trying to fit in with the NADA when I was 35 years old, I didn't have the problem. Thank God they didn't embrace me. Okay. I am so glad they did not embrace me. I'm so glad some car dealer, Terry Taylor, didn't start saying, hey, let me give you car dealerships and you be my partner. I am so thankful for the things that did not happen to me.
Right.
Because if those things would have happened to me and for me, I would not be me.
I think that's a great lesson for everybody.
Thank God I didn't get the Shark Tank deal I went up for 3 times. Thank God I didn't get that. Because if I'd have gotten that, I would not have sold $1 million. Yeah, I would not have sold. 3 times I went there and 3 times they turned me down. And all because he's just this, he's just that. We don't get it, blah, blah, blah. Mark probably doesn't like me. And thank God I didn't get that, bro. If I'd have done that, Grant Cardone cannot do 34,000 person events. He can't go do these big real estate conferences because ABC is going to be like, no. If you're going to do that, you can't do this.
How's the studio going?
The studio's great. We just finished our 3rd episode of The Real Estate King. Yeah. We'll do 12 of those this year. We've done LA, Phoenix, San Diego. We got mini moguls. We're looking at 2 different concepts on mini moguls. We're shooting a show called The Speaker, the Great American Speak Off, looking for the next John Kennedy, Barack Obama, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, the next great speaker on planet Earth. Kind of like
didn't know about that one.
Yeah, we're doing a show called Hustle House, looking for the ultimate hustler. And we got 2 other shows we're working right now that I can't mention, but
yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
So many takeaways from both Glenn and Grant Cardone this morning, but we will be jumping onto Clubhouse. If you want to join us there in the Breakfast with Champions room, we will continue this conversation. But thank you so much for joining us here on GM3X this morning, and we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. We will see you on Monday at 5:30 for the next episode of GM3X.
So far away, I saw you not so long ago. Was it just yesterday? Got that old feeling that I know. In the dark of the night, I'll be alright. The sun will arise. Of messages overtaking